Welcome back to a little bit of a stormy day out here at Staten Island Airfield. And today, we're not talking about drones, we're talking about RC cars. Specifically, that Traxxas Max V2. What originally started as a high-tech dog toy for a puppy to chase became one of my favorite parts of this RC hobby. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been interested in RC cars. Obviously, because I wanted to drive a real car and couldn't yet. But that passion for RC cars, because you can bash them, jump them, send them off whatever you want, and you don't have to kind of care as much as you would with an actual car. There is a certain freedom and enjoyment to RC cars that you really don't find anywhere else. And I was really looking for an RC car that, again, I could use as said high-tech dog toy and could just be bashed around, beat around, jumped, and I wouldn't have to worry about breaking it. I wouldn't have to worry about finding parts if I did manage to break it. And so I came around to the Traxxas Max V2. And after looking at all the different options, that seemed like a really, really good way to go. It was durable, it had a high volume of parts, and everybody who I've seen bash that truck has gone on and on about its relentless reliability. Let's get into the pros, let's get into the cons of the Traxxas Max V2. So before we really get into it, the difference between the Traxxas Max V1 and the Traxxas Max V2 really comes down to a few changes in the electronics, and the biggest change is the inclusion of the quote-unquote wide max kit on the truck out of the jump. The V1, you could buy the kit that basically extended the width of the truck, making it more stable in high-speed turns, a little easier to control, and a little bit more stable, I guess, in the air too. At least that's what I've found. The V2 truck basically comes with that wide max kit already there. So there's not a narrow body version of the Traxxas Max V2. Other than that, the Traxxas Max V2 is basically just an upgraded version of the Traxxas V1. There's not any substantial differences. A lot of the parts are shared across. It is a very similar truck, and that's a good thing. The original Traxxas Max has a long history of being a great basher RC car. And what do I mean by basher? Instead of going out to a racetrack, instead of going and crawling through technical terrains, basher RC cars are really meant to just jump, drop, gap, take it to a skate park, take it off a stair set, take it off a giant ramp, take it off a roof. Bashing RC cars is basically the, if you're into mountain biking, it's the free ride of RC cars. Starting off the list of pros, the first and foremost thing to talk about is that durability. The Traxxas Max, for me, has been immensely durable. I've been beating on mine for about 6 months now, and I have yet to really substantially break it. The next big pro for the Traxxas Max is its speed. Both acceleration and top speed for that truck on and off-road is surprising. Stock out of the gate with stock gearing, you can easily get into that 60-ish mile range. Sorry, 60-ish mile per hour range, which is shockingly fast. And it accelerates like a bat out of hell. It'll do standing wheelies. If you take the wheelie bar off, it'll do standing backflips. It is bananas fast. For me, when you're doing tight and technical jumps and stuff like that, that immense amount of speed and acceleration is awesome. It'll allow you to send it farther, it'll allow you to jump faster, it'll allow you to hit things that you didn't think you could, but just send it. It's great for that. Next, it is dead simple. The Traxxas brand is basically built on ease of use. From the battery to the battery charger, it is just basically pick up, go, and you're good. And that's just the same with that Traxxas Max. It is easy to set up, easy to use, pre-bound, basically just charge the battery, throw it in, and you're off to the races. Next pro is the parts availability, both for upgrades as well as replacement parts. You can find exactly what you need no matter what you break. Whether it's big, small, or you break the truck in half, you can basically get every part you need to rebuild that truck, so it's gonna last you a while, even if you do manage to break it. Now, let's move on to the cons of the truck, because it's not perfect. And first and foremost, starting off, is, I would say, the body's durability. While the truck itself is bulletproof, I have noticed the body posts on the front and back of the truck where the suspension attaches to the chassis of the truck. After many rolls and flips and crashes, the body posts have left dents on the underside of the body. I know other people like Talbot over there in the UK put shoe glue and like drywall paper on the inside of their bodies to kind of maintain that integrity. I would recommend doing that because it seems like the body does suffer a little damage when you're really beating on it. And if you want the truck to look nicer, if you want that body to last a little longer, I would recommend doing that. It makes a big difference, and I'm already starting to see the effects of not doing that. Next, Traxxas also uses a proprietary battery. While I do think their batteries are great, I do think their chargers are great. They're very easy to use, they're very simple, plug and play, and also for battery maintenance, putting it into storage, it is really easy, really nice to use. But that said, their batteries are expensive, so I would definitely say it is a con of the truck. It doesn't ship with a standard XT90 or other universal battery charger. It uses a proprietary Traxxas plug that goes to a proprietary Traxxas battery, which goes to a proprietary Traxxas charger. You can just snip the plug off on the truck side of it, solder on your own XT60 or XT90 and power the truck off your own lipos, but it does void the Traxxas warranty, or at least that's what the little sticker on the battery lead says. I think that's a pretty big con. I really don't like proprietary kind of forced path type things. Since I only have those Traxxas RC cars and I don't have a ton of other RC cars yet, for me it wasn't a big con. It is something to pay attention to if you own other RC trucks, because you don't want to have a separate set of batteries just for one car. That's kind of annoying, kind of frustrating, but it kind of comes with the territory when it comes to Traxxas. In that same vein of proprietary batteries, Traxxas is also using their own proprietary radio technology, I believe. I'm not as familiar with the different types of RC car radio technologies, but I do believe you have to use a Traxxas radio with the Traxxas electronics and different bits. So you couldn't go get an aftermarket RC controller without having to replace the actual electronics on the truck itself. Is it a big deal? Not really. I think changing the receiver out on most trucks is pretty easy, but it is something else to consider. Traxxas, I think the biggest knock overall with everything is their proprietary nature. Whether it's the batteries, the controller, the electronics, Traxxas works with Traxxas, Traxxas doesn't work with other things. It doesn't apply as much to stuff like drive shafts, suspension arms, even shocks. You can go get aftermarket shocks from most of the big RC aftermarket brands, so that's not as much of a big deal. But if you already have a whole fleet of batteries, you do have to consider whether or not you want to buy this truck, because you're going to have to snip that battery lead off if you want to use your other batteries. Just something to think about. It may not be a big deal for you, but it is something I feel like I need to warn you about if you're interested in that truck. Overall, I think that really is the majority of the pros and cons for this truck. It's crazy durable, super fast, and incredibly fun. And I think that's the biggest thing, is this truck is amazingly fun. It does have its faults. It does use proprietary technology when it comes to batteries in the RC remote, but it's not the end of the world. And you can make it less proprietary by modifying it, which is not hard, because everything is very accessible, easy to access, and easy to change out. Before I get into the conclusions, there are two more items I want to address. These are not necessarily pros or cons, but it's stuff that I feel like I have to mention. The first is it's big. As you saw in that previous B-roll shot against the size of a Monster can, it is big. So if you live in a small apartment, if you live somewhere where space is at a premium, this may not be the right truck for you. On the flip side of that, because it is larger, it is very capable off-road, and you can do things smaller RC cars can't. In that same vein, when it comes to scale, this truck really isn't designed for younger drivers. So if you have a young kid, I probably would not give them free rein with that truck. If that truck hits somebody or something, it is going to cause some damage. And for that reason, I don't think any younger person should be driving that truck unless under adult supervision. It absolutely can be super dangerous to give somebody control of it because, again, it's heavy and it's real fast. Not really a pro, not really a con, but it is something you need to be aware of if you're a parent or somebody else who's looking to buy an RC car for a younger quote-unquote driver. At the end of the day, I think RC cars should be fun, and that should be the foremost qualification for an RC truck, and that 100% nails that goal. It is super fun to drive, jump, anything you want to do with it, it pretty much is capable of doing it. Even if you want to try to rock crawl, the control of it is very, 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 so actually surprisingly precise. And so I think overall, if you want a great RC truck, I think that's one to definitely consider. The only real downsides to it are the proprietary technology and the physical size of it. Whether that's a pro or con to you, in both cases, again, depends on to you. With all that said, affiliate links for both the truck and my normal gear that I use to make these videos are down below. They are Amazon affiliate links. If you do click on them, it doesn't cost you anything, but it does give me, or potentially gives me, a small kickback from Amazon to help me grow and keep this channel going. As always, and as every other YouTuber says, thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to this channel so that way you know when new videos drop. Like the video, and if you post a comment, let me know what your favorite RC truck is, or if you haven't got into the hobby, what you're thinking of buying. I would love to give you any help. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them down there, or hit me up on any of my other social media channels. As always, thank you for joining me. Bye. As a little added bonus, this is the bag that I stored the RC car in. In this main compartment, I take the wheels off, tuck them on the side. Max fits, or sorry, not Max fits right in there. Batteries on this side, my tools and cleaning material and electric screwdriver to put the wheels on. And my remote sits over here. So this is a nice little bag that I used, got on Amazon. It was like 40 or 50 bucks. Works perfectly to store the Traxxas Max V2 in and carry it to the field. Pick it up, carry it as is. Geez, it's a little heavy.